Welcome back to the ClassyJS Devlogs. This is ClassyJS Devlog number 10. If you're new to ClassyJS or you'd like to follow along with the progress we're making, check out the previous devlogs linked in the description and click the subscribe button to be notified when new devlogs come out. If you'd like to download ClassyJS, the link is also in the description, or you can go to classyjs.com. The last 9 devlogs have helped us create 3 related classes: the pet class, the dog class, and the cat class. All of these classes offer similar or grouped functionality. This should be a signal that these classes should be moved into a package. Today we'll explore what a package is, how to make one, and how to use it. At its most basic, a package is simply a group of classes that are put into a directory that defines their usage. An example of this might be several UI classes that you want to group together, so you'd put them into the directory UI. Or you could get even more granular and break up your UI classes into multiple types by first making the UI directory and then adding a buttons directory and a menus directory, and then putting the buttons classes into the buttons directory and the menu classes into the menu directory. For our example, our 3 classes are all pets. So let's create a pets directory and then put all 3 classes inside it. Beyond grouping similar classes together, packages solve another important problem. They help avoid naming conflicts. The larger that a project grows, the more likely you are to run into classes with the same name. For example, if you were using 2 separate classes, both with the name button, how would you know which one you were using? And if you tried to use both, they'd have the same name, and it wouldn't work. We just discussed the first part of packages, the external directories they are stored in. This solves physically storing 2 classes with the same name. In our example with 2 classes named button, you could now use both because they're both in different directories. The second part of packages involves loading packaged classes. This is done through something called namespaces. Each package has a namespace. The namespace is the directory path of the package. So in our example, the namespace is pets. For the buttons in the UI example, it would be UI.buttons. To implement our package's namespace, we need to add it to each class file in the package. Let's open up our pet class, and at the top right, after package, add quote pets, end quote, comma. Then we'll do the same to our dog class. We'll open up dog, and right after package, add quote pets, quote, comma. Now that we've moved our classes into a directory and added the namespace inside the classes themselves, we also need to use that same namespace to import each class. Let's start with our main class file and check the imports. We're importing dog, but it's not namespaced correctly. Let's fix that. Change import class dog to import class pets.dog. We need to keep following the import chain to make sure that we don't miss anything. So let's open up dog again. Here we see that it's also importing pet without its namespace. Let's fix that as we've done before by adding pets to the namespace for pet, making it import class pets.pet. To finish following the import chain, let's open up pets.pet. It's not importing anything, so we're good to go. We know that everything is namespaced correctly now. We've now stored the packaged classes and imported the packaged classes, but we still need to use them. This is called referencing. We're referencing our imported packaged classes. Just like before, we need to update each class to have its full namespace. Let's start in the main class, where we make our new dog. We should now use pets.dog instead, so that it's fully namespaced. Next, we need to look for any other references by, once again, following the import chain. We'll open up the dog class, and inside, we see that it's only referencing pet in one place, where it extends pet. To fix this, we just change pet to pets.pet. And finally, we check the pet class. It's not referencing any of our newly packaged classes, so we're good to go. Now that everything is namespaced correctly, let's try running the program one more time. Boom! It's working just as before, so we know that our packaged classes are working properly. Let's review the 3 parts of packages. First is storing. Packages are stored in directories that define their logical grouping. Second is importing. Packages need namespaces to be imported and stop naming collisions. Third is referencing. The namespaces for packages are used to help avoid collisions, but They aren't required if only one class with that name is being used. This is really a convenience and speed issue. Nobody wants to type out long namespaces for all their classes every time they reference them. So you don't have to, unless you need to. Let's take a look at this. Let's open up our main class. It's only using one kind of dog class, which means we still have to import it with its full namespace, but we don't have to reference it with its full namespace. Let's make our code shorter and easier to read. First, let's change pub.firstDog equals new pets.dog back to what we had before. Pub.firstDog equals new dog. And there's one more spot. Let's open up the dog class. And where we're referencing extending the pets.pet class, well, we're only using one pet class here, so we can shorten this reference too. Let's remove pets dot so that it's now extends pet. So much easier to read. Let's make sure this works by running our code one more time. Boom! Perfect, just like before. Now that we've updated the pet class and the dog class, try updating the cat class to match. Make sure you're loading properly, and then try referencing with the full namespace and without. Packages are incredibly powerful because now you can create packages of classes that you can use over and over again without worrying about collisions. Once you've created a package that you've come to rely on, share it with the community. It's likely others will find it useful too. And that's where the power of packages really takes off. With all of us creating useful packages and making them available, we learn from each other, make life better, and make better applications. Thanks for joining us today for another ClassyJS devlog. As always, please subscribe, give a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.